peace that can't be tamed. Gotta see the dark cut like a blade. Young hearts with a midnight riot, burning fire and you can't fight it. Wild beasts that can't be tamed. Wild beasts that can't be tamed. Shine a spotlight on a fading flame. Break the chains, break the bonding. Now's the time, come out of hiding. Wild beasts that can't be tamed. Calling you, calling you, calling you. We're the revolution. Revolution, revolution, revolution.
Show 'em you ain't dead. Tell 'em that you ain't coming home. Woo, right. Woo, right. Woo,
You got me thinking, maybe I could fall in love tonight. You got me wondering, maybe this time is right.
Hey guys, welcome in. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend, and hope your Monday went well. Mine has been busy, and I was sitting down today looking at my schedule, and it's only going to get busier over the next 3 months, and that's okay. You know, busy is good. I never complain about, well, maybe I do complain about being busy, but it's always a good thing. I think being busy is awesome, and though you know you kind of get worn out, you get tired, it's all right. You know, you live for those kind of things, because then you think, what if you weren't busy? Then you'd be sitting around wondering why you're not busy and wishing that you were busy. But it's Monday night, 7 o'clock. I'm anxious to talk to you guys tonight, talk about anything that you guys want to talk about for sure. I want to remind you that the Monday night SF live streams are brought to you by Boso. Guys, you got to check them out. Go to bornsouthern74.com, or actually go to officialboso.com, and you got to check all this. I am so proud to be working with these guys. I absolutely love their stuff. Hats, shirts, all that good kind of stuff. I mean, look here, all this kind of stuff. They've got every color, like no matter if you're a fan of college football, or they've got the colors for your college. Or NFL, there's the hat right there that I'm wearing right there. It's only 25 bucks. And actually, it's not even 25 bucks, because if you go there and you check out, right when you go to checkout, if you enter the discount code, TheSteveFreeman, you're going to get 10% off of your entire order. That's right, 10% off your entire order. Go check them out. Officialboso.com. You can check out all kinds of cool stuff. They've got just like men's, women's, shirts. I love these shirts. Love them. Matter of fact, Eric just sent me this blue sweatshirt the other day, and I love it. It's that real soft, you know, it's gonna be perfect for this fall. I can't wait to actually wear it. So Anyway, guys, welcome in. I want to talk about anything you guys want to talk about tonight. I do want to try to get to some reviews if we can. You can tweet those to me at @TheSteveFreeman on Twitter. You can also drop them right here in the chat, which I guess I should probably pull the chat up so that I can see everybody that's on there. That's probably a good thing to do. Guys, yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize, but I have been, like, my allergies and sinuses have literally been killing me, like, for the last 2 years. But it seems like today that it has been worse than it's been, like, in a while. So I've got, you know, I'm loaded up on Sudafed. I've got my Hall's cough drops here. And yeah, so I'm gonna suffer through, and we're gonna do it. Yes, Buck, I had reverb on. I actually, this weekend, I was sitting here earlier, right before we went live, rehearsing some songs. I've got the Ferguson Farms Hit Songwriter Series coming up this Saturday night down in Union Grove, Alabama, just outside Huntsville. If you live anywhere in southern Tennessee or northern Georgia, or not northern, see, I'm out of it. Southern Tennessee, it's Sudafed. Southern Tennessee, northern Alabama, anywhere like that, we'd love to have you come out and join us. I am bringing in my buddy who did a live stream with us a couple weeks ago, Jacob Young, the Emmy-winning actor and star of The Bold and the Beautiful. He's got his new country EP coming out in September that I produced and co-wrote a lot of the songs on. He's going to be there with us in person, live, performing some songs from his EP. And then, of course, I'll be playing some of the hits I've been lucky enough to write. And I'm also bringing down my buddy, John Milstead, who's another phenomenal hit songwriter. It'll be the three of us. It's Saturday night, August 25th. This Saturday night, 7 p.m. You can find out all the information, anything else that you want to know, at hitsongwriterseries.com. That's hitsongwriterseries.com. Would love to see you there. But anyway, I have to be honest with you. I am the world's worst about remembering the lyrics to my own songs. I can remember everybody else's, but I can't remember mine. It's like when like Brady Seals and I will do a show together or something like that, he'll play all the Little Texas stuff, and it's like, I could do that from memory. I know every word, I know every part, but then when it comes to mine, it's like, I space. So every time before I do one of these shows, I have to go back, I have to pick the 5 or 6 songs that I'm gonna do, and then I have to basically relearn them. It's kind of sad, I realize that. But you know, when you write, I don't know, when you write 200, 250 songs a year and have for 10 to 15 years, it's hard to remember them all. It's just very difficult to remember them all. But that's what I was doing earlier. So I try my best when I'm doing that to simulate what the live sound system's going to sound like. So I was sitting here playing, I had reverb turned on, and I had the reverb on the guitar. I had it sounded great in my headphones. But and then I forgot to turn the reverb on. So that is why, that's why there was so much reverb in there. Matter of fact, let me make sure. I think it should be all off now. Shouldn't be sending anything in there. But you can let me know in the chat. It should be gone right now. It shouldn't be there at all right now. So sorry about that, but that's what I was doing, relearning my own songs. But so be it. That's kind of the way that it goes. You have to sit down. You have to remember them. You have to relearn the lyrics, because I don't like popping, like carrying an iPad with me. I don't like doing that. I don't like having to read the lyrics when I'm performing to my own songs. It's just not something that I want to do or enjoy doing. So I like to go back and relearn everything, and you know, try to perform them to the best of my ability. Anyway, which this week with the sinuses going to be tricky. But we're going to have fun nevertheless. It's going to be a great time, and hope to see you there. We didn't talk about this very much last week, but one of the things that I wanted to touch on was that if you've been living under a rock, then you probably don't know. But if this is your business, then you probably have a pretty good understanding of it, and that is everything went through with a compromise with the Music Modernization Act. So now it will go to the Senate for a vote, and then President Trump has to sign off on it. So CSAC, there was a compromise with CSAC and the rest of the collective. So it's going to go through. We'll see what that is actually going to mean for songwriters. I am one of its largest critics. I don't think that it's going to mean all that much. When I say that, I mean it's not going to mean a lot more in volume in the check that comes to my mailbox. Hopefully at some point we will get to a point where it actually does. But this is a step in the right direction. It's not, we've talked about this, it's not the right perfect legislation, but it is a major step forward considering nothing's been done in 65, 70 years. This is going to be better. So I'm cautiously optimistic. But at least we're doing something, and that I'm thrilled about and I'm happy about. If you guys have any questions, pop them in the chat over there, or you can tweet me. I do have everything set up where I can look at Twitter here and see if anybody's tweeting anything. So you can do that as well. Plus anything you guys want to talk about. Like I said, I do want to say there's probably not going to be a live stream next Monday night. Because I'm going to be in College Station, Texas next Monday on location for a music video shoot. I wrote a song with a Texas artist named Morgan Ashley and actually produced this song. It's her next single to Texas radio called Bad Boy Chaser. And the video is going to be shot next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday down around the College Station, Bryan area. So I'm flying down there. I got to be on the airplane at 5 o'clock Monday morning. It's going to be early. But we're going to have some fun down there. Check out the video being shot, and the single goes to Texas radio September 1st. So looking forward to that. So I'm probably going to be tied up and not going to be able to be available to do a live stream next Monday night, a week from tonight. So maybe I'll do something special, upload another video or do something like that to make sure I've got some content on the channel on Monday for next week, since I'm not going to be here. Buck, you know what, man? Can you resend me the link that you sent me with your songs in it? And we can review them tonight. I did actually click on the link off the air, and I did listen to several, and there were a couple in there, and there again, please don't take this the wrong way, but there were a couple in there that I actually really did like, that I think would be deserving to at least try to get it pitched. Whether or not something would happen with it, who knows? But there were a couple in there that to me, from a production standpoint and sound standpoint, and actually more sound than production. Of course, every time I listen, I'm making production notes, and I'm like, all right, well, I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this. But that's just how I am. And that's any producer is going to handle things that way. But I did like a couple of them. So thank you for sending that link. And if you want to send it again, we can maybe listen to some of it. We can listen to some of it on the stream as well. And I'm sorry I lost I was going to try to keep everything together, but I don't know. Let's see. Can you guys see this? Will that focus? I've got 14,115 emails right now. And it's like I try to get back with everybody, you know, just as soon as I can, but it sometimes it takes longer than I really wanted to. And then I think, oh yeah, I want to save that. And then I get 1,000 emails, literally, and it's buried so far down that I can't go back and I can't find it. But Buck, if you want to resend that link, you can email it to me if you want, to thestevefreeman@gmail.com. And I will see if about pulling that up, and maybe we can check out some of that actually on the stream, because I told you that we would do that, and I actually do want to do that. Kevin Brown, what's up, buddy? I have to ask though, which Kevin Brown is this? It's really weird, but my best friend in the entire world growing up was named Kevin Brown, and then I've also got a Kevin Brown friend that's in the music business that I produced his record. So, which Kevin? Either one. It's good to talk to you, man. As we move forward tonight, anybody got any questions or anything like that? I know the VMAs are on tonight. It's also, I skipped my kids' school orientation tonight. I'm not complaining about that, by the way. Their orientation was tonight, so I sent the wife. She went. And my oldest, my 15-year-old, went. And I got a text like 10 minutes after they left. It was like, the way it's worded, this is from a 15-year-old, and I just love it. It says, "This is of the utmost importance. You need to record the VMAs, please." So I ran downstairs and got on the receiver and clicked on there to make sure that we recorded the VMAs. Those are tonight, which, oh, it's Kevin Brown in Little Rock, Arkansas. Hey, buddy. I know that. It's 10 rated. Oh, I know that anywhere. You're going to have to make it over to Nashville, buddy, because I don't make it back to Little Rock very often. Arkansas, even though I'm from there, is not my most favorite place. Some good people there, like I can count, like I've got some family there, and Kevin and Scott and Lloyd and Jeremy and some of my friends growing up over there. But I think I could name like 10 or 15 people, and then I could care less about the rest of the state. But you need to come over, man, because I don't know that I'm going to make it back to Little Rock anytime soon, but would love to have you over here for a visit. But on the award shows, even country award shows, it's very difficult for me to watch them because I can't watch them and say anything positive. Very rarely, anyway. And I'll tell this little story. I actually used to watch them, and it was kind of a big thing. And when I say kind of a big thing, it was kind of a big thing. That I used to watch the award shows. And before live streaming became big, before we had Instagram Live and Twitch and YouTube and Facebook Live and Periscope, before we had any of that, it was just Facebook. So I would almost like live real time moderate and comment on the award shows. And as I do everything else, I'm always extremely honest about it. Like if artist XYZ does something or sounds horrible, I'm the first one on there going, good God almighty, why can't we find people that can sing? Or that song sucks. There's so many great songwriters and songs laying around Nashville, and you pick that one? I mean, and I would, and a lot of these artists are my friends. So it's not like I'm not, I would say anything to their face that I would say on Facebook, and trust me, I have. If the artist isn't my friend, then somebody in their band is my friend. I can promise you that. And I was just very honest. A lot of people would call it critical, but a lot of people enjoyed it. Like a lot of people enjoyed it. Like before the CMA Awards or the ACM Awards, it would start like 4 or 5 days out. People would text me and be like, hey, are you doing the thing during the award show? Because I quit going to the award shows a while back because I couldn't stand it. You go and it's the same people patting the same people on the same backs for doing the same damn thing year after year after year after year. And for me, I don't like to celebrate mediocrity. So that's why I stopped going to the award shows. But people would start texting me and emailing me and messaging me, hey, are you going to do your thing during the award show? And I'd be like, absolutely, I'm going to. Well, one year, about 4 years ago, I got a call from my publisher, and they wanted me to come in for a meeting. And I was like, okay. And this was after, I think it was the ACM Awards. And it was after the ACM Awards. And I went in, and I had a song that was on hold for a big artist. And they loved the song. They loved everything about it. But this particular artist performed on the ACM Awards that year. And I said something very critical about the performance. Well, somehow that got back to the artist and to the artist record label. They called my publisher. And so my publisher pulled me in, and they're like, you know, if Steve wants us to cut his songs, you know, it's probably a pretty good idea that he not be really vocal on Facebook about what he thinks. Well, I had to kind of take a step back from that just a little bit, because my first reaction to that is, well, you be a better performer. Get your vocals better. How about rehearsing a little more? Why? I can't be honest, but then it's like you think about your kids, you think about your wife, you think about your life, your lifestyle, and your income. And then it was like, and my publisher looked at me and said, look, you have never said anything derogatory that was not deserving. We will give you that. You've not ever just jumped on somebody for no absolute reason, or when something was really good, you just said it was bad, being spiteful. You're always dead on when you talk about the things that you talk about in your comments that you talk about. But this cost us a cut on a major label artist, a big artist. And ever since that time, I thought, you know, what your parent used to tell you, you know, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Well, I kind of went with that philosophy. So I quit watching award shows altogether, because if I watch an award show, I'm going to say what I think. I cannot help myself. I literally cannot keep myself from not posting it. And it's a death trap. So as far as that goes, I learned my lesson. So I don't watch award shows. I'm going to record the VMA. God knows, I actually do love country music. I don't think what we have today, I don't think 85% of it's country, but I even still like some of it. What's his name? Sam Hunt. I love Sam Hunt. I love what he does. I just don't like when Luke Bryan tries to do it. But I love what Sam Hunt does. That's who he is. And the guy's a phenomenal songwriter. Phenomenal songwriter. So, the VMAs tonight on MTV, it's like, I spend a lot of time in LA, so I'm kind of engaged in that community. And I do a lot of pop stuff. But I swear to God, it's the VMAs to me is like going to the zoo. You never know what strange animal you're going to watch on screen. And nobody take that the wrong way. You know what I'm saying. Just there's odd-looking people, and there's weird music, and everybody's lip-syncing, and you have no idea what's going on. The stage performance is it's all about that. It's not about the song. It's not about the music. It's not about the performance. It's about all these other elements that they bring to the table to try to get you to go to iTunes and buy that song, because that was an amazing performance. Well, I can't agree with that, so I don't ever watch the award show. So I'll record it for my daughter, and I'm sure that she wants it because Post Malone's going to be on there. And she is in this huge Post Malone thing right now, this huge Post Malone phase. Absolutely loves Post Malone. And I've got to say, I actually really like Post Malone too. But I like Post Malone for a different reason. I like the guy. I like who he is personally. He is a great guy. He is, regardless of whether or not what you think about the music he does, he is a genius. He literally is a genius. I don't like all of his music. I like some of it. But he is a legitimate genius. And he is doing something that is different. And I love the fact that he's collaborating with so many different people, and there's so much good stuff coming out of it. So I value what it is that he does. I value a lot of things. A lot of other musicians that are out there, and a lot of other artists that are doing different styles of music. But I got to say something. My God Almighty, I literally thought this would be the last thing in the world I would ever say. But has anybody heard the new Steve Perry single? Yeah, that's Steve Perry from Journey. It is horrible. It is literally horrible. And that guy, to me, had one of the greatest voices of all time. There is no debating whether or not Steve Perry could sing. There's no debating it. He's one of the best, one of the greatest of all time. And it's been years and years and years since he put out any new music. He puts out this new album that's coming out, and the single is available immediately. And I listened to it and was just like, oh my God. I mean, you would think if you hadn't done anything in 30 years, whatever it was you were going to do next was just going to be amazing, because you had 30 years to plan this shit. I mean, you had 30 years for production, songwriting. I mean, you would think it's going to be the best album of all time. And maybe there's some good stuff on the album, like down in the album, but I can't imagine that they would put this first single out and then that wouldn't be kind of indicative of the rest of the album. But this first single is horrible. It is horribly written. It is horribly performed. It is horribly played. It is just bad. It is bad all the way around, and very well may be one of the worst things I've ever heard in my entire life. You can tell that he's still struggling vocally a little bit. His voice has definitely changed, but, you know, he's had so many problems. That I can't fault him for. But then there were times in this song where it was like the vocals were really good. And it was like, oh, okay, there's Steve Perry. There's the Steve Perry I know. And then, but most of it was not. And then this song is just horrible. It just horrible. And I hate to say that because I'm a huge Steve Perry fan. I love the guy to death. Love his voice. And I would love to have him back, you know, in music. We need voices like Steve Perry's voice. But there is no Journey reunion on the horizon, I don't think. And, you know, I've heard some of the backstory there, having worked with Jonathan Cain a few times, and I don't know that will ever happen. It'd be kind of awesome. But what's his name? Arnel Pineda, or that guy's phenomenal. I mean, he's got a wonderful voice as well. But I encourage you. I mean, if you are a Steve Perry fan, you got to check the new single out. I'm going to tell you my opinion. It's horrible. It's a complete waste of 3.5 minutes. But it's almost like you have to check it out. You have to do it because, you know, you want to hear Steve Perry after so many years. So with that being said, you know, you might want to check it out. We will do some reviews. Let me go over this, guys. If you've got a video you want us to check out, you can tweet me the link at the Steve Freeman on Twitter. You can email it, thestevefreeman@gmail.com. We will try to get to some of the reviews. And let's see. James, yep, I just got your email. Let me click on this. Let me see if it will let me do this, and we'll pop it up and give it a listen. Before I do this, though, before I play it, is there anything you want in particular? Like, drop that in the chat. Is there anything, you know, I'm supposed to be listening for in particular, or anything like that? Let me know that, so that I know what I'm listening for, because I want to make sure and make sure I'm doing the right thing, or critiquing, if you can even call it critiquing. I just want to know what I'm supposed to be listening for. That, I think, will help me a great deal. So if you're still watching and you are in the chat, just drop that in the chat real quick and tell me. Maybe we will go ahead and listen to a little bit of it, and then I will we'll see what James pops up there. Snail Guy, how you doing, buddy? Glad to have you back. Thanks for coming back tonight. We appreciate it. Okay, so James Buchanan, we're going to listen to this. It's called Lay Me Down. We'll listen to a little bit of it. And then James, I think he's also going to write in the chat what exactly he wants, what he's kind of looking for, what he wants me to do. You can text me too, James. And we'll see. So let's listen to a little bit of it.
I know you want me, I know you do. You can't live without me, this we know is true. Ever since that night we met, I've been on your mind. If you think you can leave me, go ahead and try. Yeah, go ahead and try.
I like the groove a lot.
You read the contract, you signed that deal. You knew that eventually you'd lie, cheat, and steal. Don't let that worry you none, I'll take all your blame, along with your house, your car, your wife, and all your things. And I wish you'd lay me down. Oh, don't let me put you in the ground. Oh, I pray you see the light while you still got time. While you still got time. Yeah, take a look around. Tell me what you see. Is this what you had in mind? How you thought it'd be? Well, I'm just a dead-end street. I'm the end of the line. No, I don't deserve your soul. You best leave me far behind. And oh, I wish you'd lay me down. You still got time. You still got time.
Man, I've heard enough to kind of give my 2 cents on it. And let's see, you were content, structure, radio ready, or no? Content, I actually love the content. But I am a sucker for that kind of style. It's almost like a, dare I even say, it's almost kind of like a throwback, kind of a Maverick sound and the almost kind of like the highway. If the Highwaymen are around today, that's what they would be doing. You know, it's kind of that outlaw country style. I love it. I was hearing right away that song. I want to take on. I'm going to take on Radio Ready before I take on Structure. And like I said, guys, forgive me. My sinuses are horrible and my throat's killing me, so I'm halsing it up. Radio Ready, I would say no for two reasons. One, unless, well, and you can't even say Chris Stapleton because radio doesn't really play Chris Stapleton that much. That's where I would classify that. Maybe a Midland. Maybe. They're almost a little too strange to do something that straight ahead, which that is not straight ahead. I'm saying Radio Ready no for two reasons. One, I don't think radio would play it, just from a stylistic point of view. But pause right there because I think there is a home for that song. But Radio Ready no, because I don't think radio would play it. Two, I think the mix could be 3,000 times better. I've got it like cranked in my phones here. I can hear some things way off in the background that really should be brought to the forefront. And if you wanted to make it radio ready, you're going to need to replace all the drums, you know, with triggers and things like that, because that's everything you hear on the radio. You haven't heard a real kick drum or snare drum or tom in 15 years. Everything is replaced. All the drums are always replaced. There are some production elements that I would bring into that song without changing the style. The style and structure of it, I love it. I love it. But maybe structure-wise, I would have maybe torn it down in some parts and let it go from something very bare in the beginning, like maybe started out with a baritone acoustic or something like that, and let it ramp into that full production. And so that you give the song a place to go, so that it starts bare, and then it evolves, and it's like a story, you know, a beginning, a middle, and an end, just to give that song somewhere to go. For those two reasons, I say that no, it's not radio ready, just because of the mix. Could be better, of course, be mastered. That always makes all the difference in the world. I always tell people that, because I have a lot of people ask about mixing and mastering, and I will say this because I think this song is a great point to point to this, and that is that hearing a song that has not been properly mixed is like a coloring book in black and white. And a song that has been mixed right and mastered right really comes to life. And the mastering process is that process that adds all of the color in, that makes it look amazing. A lot of people say, well, I can't hear the difference. You know, mastering is just about making it louder. If you're out there and you're doing music and you have somebody helping you and your mastering engineer thinks that mastering is about making it louder, you need to find a new mastering guy. Shoot me an email and I'll recommend a couple. Mastering is not about making the loudness. It's not about a brick wall limiter. It's not about making it loud. Mastering is 100% about dynamics. It's about frequencies. It is about taking something that sounds like this and making it sound like that. It's about stereo width, about dynamics, about compression, about making sure that there are no frequencies that rub each other the wrong way, and making sure that everything is clear, the final EQ, the final compression, and yes, the overall level. And the thing used to be is we want these things to be as loud as possible. Not so much anymore. Because now, especially for upload to iTunes and all the streaming outlets, they all have normalizers that you run your music through, that they run your music through when they upload it to the system, so that everybody's is the same level. So when you're getting something from iTunes, you're not even really hearing it the way that it's been truly mastered. You're not hearing that. And mastered for iTunes is a bunch of bullshit. So if you're paying somebody and they're paying you and they're charging you extra to master for iTunes, that's bullshit. That's one click of a button. That's it's a different encoder. That's it. It's output through a different encoder. So don't fall for the mastered for iTunes trick. I will say this, I've got one mastering story that I will share. And it's happened every single time, but I'll never forget the first time it happened. A lot of mixing engineers don't like you to sit in the room, and a lot of mastering engineers don't like you sitting in the room with them when they work. They like to do their thing and then bring you in and let you listen to it and then make tweaks. But they don't like you watching them while they work. Some people say, and I've heard many different schools of thought on this, that, you know, they just don't like people looking over their shoulder. They know what they're doing. You don't. If you did, you'd be mixing it yourself. So they want to be able to work without being stopped in between. Maybe that's some people. I think that these guys have mix templates and they don't want you seeing what their mix template looks like and how they're bussing this and doing all that, because then you could learn that and copy that and then you wouldn't need them anymore. That's what I think the major reason is. But that being said, I was doing I was producing a record about, it's been 10 years ago now. And I wanted Richard Dodd to master this particular record. Richard was one of the engineers on the Beatles records. He mastered the Dixie Chicks. He mastered Tom Petty. You name it. And this guy, he has mastered everybody. His credits go on and 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 on. He's like one of the most respected mastering engineers in the world. And he's a little English guy. And so I took this project over. His studio is right behind Blackbird over in Berry Hill. And I handed him everything and I said, all right, well, you know what, just call me when you're ready for me to come. And he goes, were you not going to stay? Because I don't do an English accent very well, but it was, you know, said, well, aren't you going to stay? Something like that. And I was like, can I stay? And he said, absolutely. I'd love for you to stay if you'd like to stay. And I said, well, I would love to. And so we walked into this room where he masters. And this was such an interesting day because you walk in and he's got, I don't remember what they're called, but he has his monitors up front. I think these things are like $20,000 a piece, and they look like webs, but there's little speakers in them. But they're seriously like $12,000 to $15,000 a piece. Remember that for another part of the story coming up. And he loads all the files up, and he starts messing with it. Now, I can tell that it's getting better. I mean, audibly, I'm sitting there. He's sitting behind his console and his computers, and he has me sitting over here to the left of him on a church pew. And I can't see on his screen. I can't see what he's seeing, and I think that's why he has people sit over there. But I'm sitting over there, and it's getting better and better, and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. You know, all that, you can tell the bass is starting to come up now, and he started dropping frequencies out that were in, like you didn't even know it was a problem until it was gone, and they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. It sounds so much clearer now. But into the first song, he was about 30 minutes into the first song. And I will never forget this experience ever. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh my God, this sounds amazing. This is going to sound amazing. And I told him, I said, Richard, man, because he asked, you know, what do you think so far? And I said, I think it sounds phenomenal. And he goes, listen to this, my boy. And I don't know what button it was that he hit. I know it was an expensive button, but I don't know what button he hit. But when he hit that button, I had never heard anything sound that good in my entire life. And that mix that was like here, and it sounded like it was there, and it was just, everything was hitting right. When he hit that button, it went from there to so wide that it felt like you felt the music. You weren't hearing it anymore, you were feeling it. And I said, Richard, what did you just do? And he goes, that's why you pay me the big bucks. And I'll never forget that experience, ever. Then, once he finished mastering the entire thing, we're listening through $50,000 worth of speakers. And it's sounding great. And he looks at me and he goes, well, I have one more test that I need to, I actually said, I got 2 more tests I need to run it through to make sure that it's right. And I said, okay. He goes, first I'm going to burn a disc. So he burns a disc. And he goes, come on, let's go out in my car. He goes, because nobody listens through $50,000 worth of speakers. So let's go see what it sounds like in my car. I'm like, all right, great. So we go outside and we hop in his car. He goes, you like the way it sounds in the car? And I'm like, yeah, it sounds freaking great in the car. This is phenomenal. Yes, absolutely. He goes, all right, let's do the final barometer, the final litmus test, the final everything. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay, we've listened through these thousands and thousands of dollars worth of speakers. We listened to it in the car. Now we're going to go back in. Now what's that last? He goes, and this is the most important step. And I'm like, all right, great. What do we do? We walk in, he flips his switch, and we start listening to this record through a pair of $15 computer speakers. And he said, I rely more on these computer speakers than I do those $50,000 pair of speakers back there. Because this is where 99.9% of people, this is how they're going to hear it. Yeah, a lot of people listen in the car. He said, but everybody's listening. And this was 10 years ago. He said, everybody's listening through computer speakers or headphones. He said, and if it sounds great on computer speakers, then it's going to sound great in your headphones. And that's what we want. And as he was listening, he goes, I need to make some changes. Because it sounded great in the car. It sounded great through his speakers, his big speakers. But it didn't sound the way that we wanted it on the computer speakers. He went and he dialed a couple dials and he did a couple things and he clicked a couple buttons and boom, it sounded great through the computer speakers. He said, all right, let me burn another disc. So he burns another disc and we go back out to the car. We listen to it in the car. It sounds awesome. He brings it back in. We listen on the computer speakers. It sounds great. He plays on something else. I put in earbuds. Sounds great on there. And he goes, let's take it outside and play it on my little CD player out in my hallway. So we take the CD and we're out there in the hallway and we're listening on this little Sony jam boombox that he had. He goes, sounds great to me, but are you happy? He goes, it doesn't matter what I think. Are you happy? And I said, man, I'm floored. I'm blown away. And so I have a very high bar, I guess, when it comes to mixing and mastering. It is such an important part of the process, and it should not be skipped. Guy, I know that a lot of people are trying to do this online stuff, this online mastering. All they're doing is raising the levels. There is nothing that you're going to pay $7 to $15 to $20 for, sending them a file and them sending it back, that is going to be truly mastered. That is like just running things through a plugin. For those of you artists that are out there, even my demos, I have all of my publishing demos. I have all of them mastered because I want them to sound the best they can possibly sound. And guys, I encourage you to do that. You have, in this business, you have less than one chance and less than a first chance to make a lasting impression. So you want your music to sound as good as it possibly can 110% of the time. I know it's an added expense. I know that it's extra. But doesn't your music deserve that? Doesn't your music deserve every opportunity in the world to be able to go somewhere? And we've discussed this before, but when your songs do get pitched and A&R staffs and managers or artists, when they're listening and they are deciding whether or not something sounds like a hit, they're talking about production and dynamics. What does the production sound like? And are they feeling the music or are they hearing it? That comes way before the lyrical content, guys. Just being honest with you, that's the way that it is. So I judge a lot of things, and James, even like that, it's like, that's what grabbed me about that song. I have now become almost tuned in a way to think that way first, and not even really listen a whole ton to the lyric, because I know that the people I'm going to play it for aren't listening to the lyric, and that's sad. It's a sad place to be. I don't like being there any more than you guys do, but that is it is a fact. But I like the song, man. I like it. I think with a different mix, maybe, and the parts are there to do even what I was talking about doing dynamically, with maybe, you know, giving the song a storyline and giving it a place to go from a production standpoint. All those files are there. I could hear them. I could hear the parts. I could hear the acoustic. I could hear the different guitar parts that were played, that were way back in the background that should have been brought forward. So all those files are there. I would encourage you to go back in, have those things remixed, with a little bit narrower focus, and pop that baby out and have it mastered. Where I do think that it fits in, I was telling you that for two reasons that I don't think it's radio ready, but I do hear that as a sync potential. I do, you know, the Sons of Anarchy show spinoff is coming back to FX. They love to use independent music. You've got Yellowstone on the air now. That's kind of a Western that they do kind of use that outlaw style country. You've got a lot of different television shows and a lot of different movies that love using that type of music, and they love even more dealing with independent songwriters and independent artists because the music is easier to clear. And I will ask you guys in the chat if this is something you guys want to know more about sync, about getting songs and doing music for TV and film, because this is something that I could go into, and it's a long topic. So if nobody wants to know anything about that, then I won't even go into it. But just to say as much that style of music lends itself so much more to sync than it does quote-unquote country radio or any other radio for that matter right now. But I will tell you, one of the things that I covered in one of the videos that I did a few weeks back was how to make money with your music in 2018 and beyond. And one of those things that I do talk about sync and about getting your music in TV and film. And that is a realistic way to make money with your music. Does it come with all of the popularity and the fame of having a big hit song on the charts? No. But if that's what you're doing this for, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. I will tell you that I know for firsthand, for a fact, that you can make more money writing songs for TV and film or having a song placed in TV or film than you can a top 10 record as a songwriter on Billboard with either a co-write or a three-way. That I know firsthand experience of. I just found out the other day. And these don't pay as much. But I've got a song in a Hallmark original movie they're actually shooting it right now. And I think it's going to come out, I think it comes out before Christmas. It's called Love, of course. But it's a song I wrote with Chloe Caroline called Catch Me If You Can. Really cool song, and it's going to be in the movie. She's actually going to be in the movie, which is kind of cool. But they're going to use the entire 3.5 minutes of the song, which is kind of cool. That did not pay as much as I've ever, I mean, it didn't get paid. It didn't pay nearly as much as a lot of things that I've done that have paid a literal ton. But it's those little things like that that add up. Nashville. We didn't make a ton on the show Nashville when I was writing songs for that show. It was good money, don't get me wrong. It was good, but it wasn't like great. But you start adding all these things up, and it all adds up. I mean, it's why my Wi-Fi network in my house is called mailbox money, because that's what it does. It accumulates and it shows up in that mailbox out there. If you haven't at the possibility of sync TV film, and you're an independent artist or a songwriter, you are really selling yourself short, guys. Like, really selling yourself short. There is so much money out there to be made in sync, it would blow your mind. It literally would blow your mind. I've got a buddy who did a song for a movie last year, and I think his side of it was $250,000. And they decided that they wanted to use the song on Monday, and they wired him the money on Tuesday. Now, tell me that is not so much better than you've got a song, an artist cuts the song, they put it out as a single, and then it starts climbing the charts, and it goes up, even if it hits the top 20, top 10, whatever. It feels like it's 18 months before you ever see any money from that. I mean, you can't beat somebody saying yes on Monday and paying you on Tuesday. And that was just for the master usage license. I mean, that doesn't even include the publishing or anything like that they're going to make on this song. But that happens all the time. That's why I spend so much time in LA, because I love writing stuff for TV and film. My buddy Jacob Young is getting ready to produce a film. And I'm going to be doing all of the music for it. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be a great movie. I've read the script. It's going to be a great project, great movie, great music. It's going to be everything, brought together. And then we also just did a song for another movie he's going to be in. So I encourage all of you to explore that. Get to know what music supervisors are, who they are, what they do. It takes a lot of work and persistence to get into that groove to where you're one of the people that they know they can count on and trust to send them great material. Because the worst thing you can do when it comes to sync is send bad material. No matter how great you think it is, if you send bad material, it doesn't matter. If you send one really bad song and ask about it, you're not ever going to get that opportunity again or back. They'll never listen to anything else that you send. So if you're thinking about contacting them, the best way to go about that is to reach out to them, send them an email, ask them what projects they're currently working on, and then ask them what style they're looking for, and then try to tailor your pitch to what it is that they're telling you that they're looking for, because they'll do a lot of the heavy lifting for you if you let them and if you pay attention. But maybe we will do something else, maybe another live stream or full length thing on sync and stuff for TV and film, because there's a lot of opportunity there, guys. I also plan, now that we're we're going and we're in the thing now, we've got this, it's every Monday night at 7, I'm going to start scheduling some guests, and I want to have on some music supervisor friends in Los Angeles actually come on the live stream and talk about it, how it works, and how to tailor your music more in that direction. So I definitely want to do that, and I am working on scheduling some special guests coming up that I think you guys will be really interested to hear from, and really interested to talk to and ask questions for. So if nobody else has anything they want us to review, I never saw another email from Buck. So I don't, maybe he had to jump off. Oh no, there it is right there. Wow, see, that was strange. I tell you what, Buck, are you still on? If Buck's still watching, I just got the I don't know why that happened. The email just now came through, but it was sent at 7:30. If Buck's still on, we'll give a quick listen to something like that. If not, I'll probably nod off. Okay, yeah, there you are. He's there. So let's see here. Let me open this up. And there it is. And get rid of that. Buck, is there anything in particular that you want me to listen to? Anyone in particular? just pop the title over there in the chat and let me know which one, if there's any one in particular, or you just want me to play the first one that's there, or anything like that, and we'll take a listen to it and go from there. If I don't see anything in the next couple of seconds over in the chat, then I'm just gonna play the first one, if that's cool. I'll just play the first one that's up there. I know that I had done that before. The first one's fine. Okay, great. Let's do that. This is Buck Williams. Let's take a listen.
I stormed into the barroom and ordered a stiff drink. My girl and I had a huge fight. I needed time to think.
I know that singer.
Told the barkeep it was over, how she was way out of line. He said, you like that man in the corner, now he's in here all the time. I don't wanna be that guy sitting all alone, night after night, no reason to go home, full of regrets, nobody left to call his own. I don't wanna be that guy afraid to admit that he was wrong and won't give in to a woman who swore she loved him till the day she dies. I don't wanna be that guy. I knew he heard us talking, but he never turned around. Walked over to his table and asked to sit down. Said I sure could use some advice, and his hands began to shake. With tear-filled eyes he said, boy, don't you wait till it's too late. No, I don't wanna be that guy sitting all alone, night after night, no reason to go home, full of regrets, nobody left to call his own. No, I don't wanna be that guy afraid to admit that he was wrong and won't give in to a woman who swore she loved him till the day she dies. No, I don't wanna be that guy. As fast as I came in, I headed out that door. Had to get back home and tell her that I loved her even more. How I had a change of heart. I didn't mean to make her cry, and I know just what I'll say when she asks me why. I don't wanna be that guy sitting all alone, night after night, no reason to go home, full of regrets, nobody left to call his own. I don't wanna be that guy afraid to admit that he was wrong and won't give in to a woman who swore she loved him.
All right, awesome, Buck. Thanks for sending that over. My initial thoughts, and there again, I'm gonna say exactly like I did to James, but I think the production could be a lot better. I like the song, but it does sound like a demo to me. That sounds like something they do over at Baird, or there's a couple other, I don't want to name anybody. There's a couple other people in town that do demos for people that don't live in Nashville. I mean, I do it, but I do it completely different. But it has that demo sound to me. I do like the song. I like the structure of the song. I have to say that when it got to the down chorus, that third chorus, where it's the first half's down and then it builds into the back half, I would like to have heard maybe the song start out that way and let that first verse be like that, and then really built into the first chorus, and then had everybody in the second verse, then went into the second chorus, and your bridge right there. And I would say maybe the bridge should be a little bit shorter than that. But then I also, it's like I said, like nobody ever gets to the bridge. When these A&R people, they're going to listen to 30, 45 seconds, and that's it. They never hear a second verse, they never hear a second chorus, and they never hear a bridge. And they certainly never hear an outro. But I like the song. I like the content of the song lyrically. I like the idea of the song a lot. I think that if you were to take that song and maybe put it in a different wrapping, in a different box with maybe a different bow, something that was a little bit more current and a little bit more representative of what you're hearing on the radio right now, I think that song would have a lot better shot. Whether that be from getting interest from publishing companies or whether it be, interest if you've got a song plugger and they're plugging from A&R people and managers, artists, all of that. We talked a little bit about this last time, and that is so important, that even though it may not be the style that you like, it has to be the style of what other people are cutting. There are a few people that can release something like that, that even have that same sound and have that same structure and be a little bit more country, but those artists are extremely established and they're not cutting outside songs. They're writing them themselves, or they're writing them with their buddies, and the chance of getting a song that sounds that country, to me, which, don't get me wrong, I think that's a great thing. I love country music. I love real country music, so I love the sound of that. But if the goal is to write those type of songs, then I think the ultimate goal is to surround them in the right packaging, is to bring that up to a more modern sound that is indicative of what you hear on the radio. That, honest to God, is that I listened to that song and a couple others last week after I got off the air, and it's exactly what I thought then. That is really my only criticism at all. I can't, like I said, normally I don't critique like lyrics and things like that because, as songwriters, we're all artists, and I'm not ever going to say you shouldn't say that, because I'm not the one saying it. You're the one saying it, and I'm not going to put words in songwriters' mouths. So if I had a critique, that's it. It's just it's the form in which that song's getting delivered. That's I have an issue with the delivery format. I have an issue with the car, and not the driver. But great job. And several of yours that are on your page, I would say that it's the same thing, same issue. The issues to me are not the songs; it's the delivery method. I would also say too, be very careful about who you choose to use as your demo singer. Like, yeah, I know that I knew that voice. You have to be very careful, because what you fall into when you use the same demo singer as a lot of other songwriters is whenever that song gets pitched to an A&R person, they feel like they've heard it before because they hear that same voice all the time. Matt Dame is one of the best singers in town. The guy should have a record deal himself. He was a part of a duo that was on Curb for a minute, and it didn't materialize. But he should have a deal as a solo artist because he's an amazing singer. But he sings 90% of the demos in Nashville. The problem with that is that, and I've had people tell me this, I feel like I've heard it before. Well, they haven't heard that song before, but they've heard Matt Dame sing every other song. So they feel like they've heard it. And that is a very important thing. When I do demos for songwriters, I do not use demo singers. I use artists, and 4 out of the 5 that I use actually have major label record deal. So their voice is not heard all the time. When I'm doing my own stuff, if I don't sing it, or the co-writer that I'm writing it with doesn't sing it, I mean, I write so much with artists that It doesn't happen that often anymore. But I always have an artist sing my demo because I don't want to hire a demo singer. I want it to have a sense of freshness that when this A&R person is listening to this song, they know that they are hearing that song for the first time, and that it is not a voice that they've heard a million times, because they do. I've witnessed it happen. I have literally written a song like on Monday, cut it on Tuesday, and was pitching it on Wednesday, and nobody had heard it. I hadn't even played it for the co-writer, and I had an A&R person tell one of the creative people at my publishing company, y'all sent me that song a couple weeks ago. And this was several years ago, and it was a very well-known singer in town that sang a lot of demos, sang the demo because I needed it done very quickly, and the guy that I wanted to sing it was out on the road on tour, and he couldn't sing it. So I had to do what I had to do real quick. And that was the comment that came back. You sent me this song a couple weeks ago. It's like, no, you've never heard, nobody's ever heard this song before. So just be very careful when you're doing that. Make sure that the voice is such an important instrument. You know, to me, it's one of the most important. So make sure that when you're investing money into these songs to have them demoed, that you are using a voice that people don't hear all of the time. Guys, we've gone, it's a little over an hour, and I think it's about time to pack it up for the night. Thank you guys so much for joining in on the live stream tonight. Like I said, there will be no live stream next Monday night because I'm going to be in College Station, Texas. And, I mean, I'll have my laptop, but I'm not going to have time to do it. I was trying to think if I could do it, and I'm not even going to mess with it. But we will be back right here 2 weeks from tonight. As always, guys, I thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for your emails. Thank you guys for the links, being able to check those out as well. You can always send me that stuff. You can email it to me. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you know when I go live or when I upload a new video. And also don't forget to check out Born Southern, Boso, officialboso.com. You can buy the hat that I'm wearing right now. And if you enter the discount code TheSteveFreeman, you get 10% off your order. But they get amazing shirts, sweatshirts, any kind of lifestyle clothing you could possibly want. Their t-shirts are the most comfortable t-shirt I have ever worn in my entire life. Literally. And I'm picky, guys. I am really, really, really picky. So check out officialboso.com. Let them know I sent you. If you want to buy something, use the discount code TheSteveFreeman, and you'll get 10% off right then and right there. Guys, if you're not following me on social media, I try to do Twitter. I'm not real good at it, but it's at TheSteveFreeman. I'm on Facebook constantly. That's my main platform, and it's at TheSteveFreeman as well. Won't see you next Monday, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. So until then, guys, don't forget, keep being creative, keep pushing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. Guys, see you in 2 weeks.
Wild things that can't be tamed. Cut through the dark and cut like a blade.